Husband lets wife cheat on him. I looked at the letter in shock. Based on the news, I had expected this, but it was still a shock to my system. It seemed like the world had gone crazy. We were at war with some people in a place called Vietnam. I had no idea where exactly that was, and I didn't care. None of this had anything to do with me, and as far as I could tell, nothing to do with anything at all. The news was talking about people protesting in the streets, and even though I wasn't doing anything wrong, I was in agreement with them. Now the letter was in my hands. I was being drafted into the army. This meant trouble. I had a young wife, a job at the local mill, a start in life. The news was peppered with stories of others being sent home, the lucky ones maimed for life, the unlucky ones killed. I even considered Canada, but I didn't want to spend the rest of my life being a criminal looking over my shoulder. My wife Sharon burst into tears at this news, and there was nothing I could do about it. We were just starting to learn about sex, and we were preoccupied with it. Once she learned what it was, she turned into the hottest, sexiest woman I've ever met, with the exception of my current wife, Deborah, who I've written about before. We discussed many possibilities, one of which was that I go into the Navy. Less chance of getting shot, and I could spend time getting an education. That's what I did. There was some talk of me already being in the Army, but one guy told the others that I went to volunteer for 4 years, and they only drafted me for 2. So I ended up in the Navy. The other big problem was sex. Now I was a man every other day. Sharon would have it even more often if I could manage it. But our regular session usually lasted a couple hours, and truth be told, even young and virile, I just couldn't. She was in a highly aroused state most of the time, and the discovery of sex really set her in motion. I was starting to get used to the cold food. "What are we going to do?" she asked with tears in her eyes. There were a lot of tears during that period. "I suppose if things get too bad, we can arrange for the other partner to be okay with it," I suggested at one point. We'd already talked about toys and things like that, and while she enjoyed it, it did nothing but cool her off for a few hours. "What, really? Aren't you going to get mad?" Sharon looked at me in surprise. "No, not the way it's going to be. I'll be at camp for a few weeks and then they'll send me away for a few months. I know what you're like and I know you're going to be miserable." "I think I can manage, darling. I don't want to cheat on you," said Sharon. "It won't be cheating if we both know about it and don't keep any secrets," I told her. Sharon pressed her lips together, thinking about it. "So you can let some other guy do it? I mean, have sex with me, and you won't be mad about it?" "Well, I have needs too, since I'll be thousands of miles away from you." She giggled at that. I expected her to fly into a rage at such a suggestion. "It might work, I guess, but I'd try not to. I love you and only you." At this, she clung to me, and we never discussed the subject again. Sharon, by this time, was practicing her caressing skills. She did it so slowly that I was always just blown away. More tears when we hugged and kissed at the train station, and then I went God knows where. I guess at that time I didn't worry about Sharon being with anyone else. At that time I was sure I was the only one. After all, I was her first. But we talked some more, and if anything happened, I told her she had to tell me everything so we wouldn't have any secrets from each other. Training camp sucked, as it always does. San Diego sucked. During high tide, human waste would accumulate in the sewers. On the march, we would constantly hear the commander yelling, "Column half left," then "Column half right," as we marched through the streets and around puddles. I was busy trying to memorize all the general orders, so I didn't think much about what was going on at home. You'd think that in a few days I'd look like a billy goat with 3 wrinkles, but strangely enough, nothing. To this day, I suspect they put something in the food. A few weeks passed before the mail caught up with me, and suddenly I had a whole stack of letters. I sorted them in order and started reading them in the intervals when we were told the smoking lamp was lit. Apparently she wrote to me every day, which was nice. That lighted smoking lamp meant we could smoke, and it was great if any of us had cigarettes, because the uniforms we wore didn't have a place to keep them, and God help you if you got caught with cigarettes or a lighter in any pocket. That's what socks were invented for. You Navy men know exactly what I mean. We all shared a lot, and I'm sure the chief knew about all this but never said anything. The first half-dozen letters were full of news, like what she made for dinner, about the blackberry pie that finally baked through instead of turning out like blackberry soup. The usual everyday boredom. Then I opened letter number 7, writing. I found someone, darling. Like we talked about. You know him. That Doug who plays at the club we go to sometimes. He's very nice. I ran into him at the club and he asked me to dance. Later he asked me if he could go home with me, and after what we talked about and what you said, I told him yes. It wasn't bad, but you are so much better than that. It hurt a little at first, but after a couple minutes I got used to it and didn't feel any more pain. He also stayed the night and wanted to do it again after breakfast, which was nice. You were right. It takes the edge off, and now I feel great, so thank you for letting me do it. I love you so much and wish you were here. With love and kisses, Sharon. I sat there for several long minutes rereading the whole thing. I tried my best not to lose my temper, but I wasn't doing much. I even considered snapping, going home and beating someone up, but I was afraid after what happened to a couple guys who tried to do that. They ended up wearing red sailor hats and carrying around 5-gallon buckets of wet sand. So I took a deep breath and opened the next letter. Letter number 8. Hi, darling. I hope you are doing well. I know you are. I got your first 2 letters. It looks like these marches aren't much fun. Everything is fine here. I found out how much money they send me. It's definitely not very much. Thanks for sending your paycheck, too. I know you don't need money where you are. We went to the lake as a whole company and had a picnic. Doug was there. I found he talks too much, so I get mad at him. Remember Daryl, who plays drums in the band? He was very nice to me. We took a walk on the trail that goes off to the other side. He was the one who told me that Doug was talking about being in the house a few days ago. When Doug is alone, I'll tell him what I think. Anyway, Daryl asked if we could do it, and I was in the mood, and we did it right there in the woods. It was very special and fun. Daryl likes to caress my body as much as you do, and that was the most enjoyable part. He also liked my breasts. He must have done it for half an hour. They even hurt a little. He's much smaller than you or Doug. Because of that, I probably won't let him do it anymore. Plus, I still have to talk to Doug. He's coming over tonight. I'm telling you all this so you don't get jealous. If you want any details, just ask, honey. Well, we don't have much other news. Love you. Sharon. Letter number 9. It's Sunday. The boys just left. I can't believe it. Doug is definitely jumpy. He came in, but Daryl and that guy Stan, who works at the bar during the week at the Moose Lodge, were with him too. They had a mint-flavored beer that was pretty good. I'm afraid I got a little intoxicated. You know how easy it is for me since I'm so small. Doug sat next to me on the couch and pulled my boobs out right in front of the other guys. With Daryl, I didn't mind since he had already seen it, but Stan I hardly know. But he was definitely watching and was all red. Then Doug put on some music and asked me to dance for them. I didn't want to at first, but the guys encouraged me and complimented me, and since they had already seen my breasts, why not? It got pretty naughty. I took everything off and I couldn't help it because it turned me on so much. We were all laughing and teasing. Doug kept trying to get me to have sex with him, and I finally did. Then, of course, Daryl did. And while I was doing that, Stan got in line. This afternoon, I'm sore all over. It was something else. How I wish you were here because you are the best to be with. Love, Sharon. Writing number 10. I guess I don't understand why you say you're mad about Doug and I doing this. We talked and you said I could if I just told you about it and didn't cheat. Besides, who cares if you know Doug? It's better than with some stranger. That wouldn't be right. I can't wait for you to come home. I love you so much. I'll do anything for you, okay? I really love you, honey. If I had known you didn't like Doug, I never would have let him do this. Now that I know how you feel, I won't do that to him again. I'm sorry, I really love you. Sharon. Letter number 11. Hi, darling. Not much to write about except that I got a job at a jewelry store. You know, it's run by an older guy named Walt, the one where you bought my rings. He's very nice to me. He wants all the sales girls to look attractive. He says it's good for business. I don't have many sexy clothes since money is so tight, so Walt offered to help me pick out a few and pay for them. Isn't that great? So I have half a dozen nice dresses and tops and a couple push-up bras that I know you'll love to see me in. Plus, Walt told us girls that if we show our breasts when we bend over the counter, it's really good for business. Last night that guy Doug showed up at the house. I told him you said he couldn't have sex with me anymore. I thought he was a nice guy, but apparently not, because he called me and you names, but eventually he left. Anyway, that's all that's going on here. I love you. Sharon. Letter number 12. Hi, darling. I guess I just don't understand anything now. What happened at the party wasn't something I planned, and the sex with Daryl at the lake wasn't real either. It didn't even feel that good with Daryl. I guess I don't get it. I mean, we talked about all that stuff, and you never mentioned that you didn't want me to do it with anyone. You know? So it's not my fault. You should be clear on what's okay and what's not, please. I don't want you to get upset, but I'm not having sex with Daryl anymore. Stan should be fine. You don't know him, do you? Let me know if you have a problem with him, okay? He's only been here 3 times, and I can stop any time. I hope it's not a problem. I like Stan, and he's really nice. Well, I have to go to work. I'll write later. Love, Sharon. Letter number 13. Danny! I haven't had sex with old Walt. He must be almost 50. All he did was buy me clothes and help me pick them out. I don't see the point in going into details. Besides, pretty clothes are just a business. I get a commission on what I sell. Last week I made almost $130. That's a lot of money. Besides, so what if he saw me with no clothes on? It was just my boobs anyway when he helped me pick out the right bra. He's my boss, so it's no big deal. This is all just your guess. I didn't even mention it, but since I want us to have no secrets, I'm telling you now. It's just my boob. When he was helping me with my bra, he shoved it back in place. There's nothing wrong with it. I can't imagine you getting upset about it. Sharon. Letter number 14. I got your last letter. Walt is not an old asshole. I don't know why you say that. I mean, he's just like any other guy. You all like to look at a woman's breasts. Besides, he's only seen mine twice, and that's all except for the day I was changing and he walked in. It wasn't my fault. I was in the back room changing into my work clothes. After all, it's his property, so he can go back there if he wants. He mentioned that he thought I would look good if I shaved, but I said I didn't want to. But that was the end of it. Last night I went to a bar with Judy and Kim and met a nice guy named Gary from Portland. I know you don't know him. That took the edge off, and he'll be back tonight, too. I see you have a vacation to get home before you leave for 6 months. I'm looking forward to it. You are the best, even better than Gary. I'll be ready for your homecoming, honey. I better loosen up for a couple days or you'll find me a little loose. I love you very much. Sharon. Letter number 15. What is going on with you? I did nothing to deserve this, and you said I could. And now you want a divorce? I even told Kim and Judy about our deal. And since I know you weren't having any fun there at camp, I asked them if they were interested, and they both said yes. That should equalize us. I know Judy is a little fat, but Kim is definitely not. You'd like that, wouldn't you, darling? I could probably organize it so we'd all be together at once. You could even invite Gary, because the 3 of us would be too much for you. I've told you everything. Everything except that deal with Walt last week. But I just didn't have time to mention it. It was no big deal. He only lasted 2 minutes, and his business was nothing. Plus, I got a nice raise. Please, let's talk about it. I don't want a divorce. Please. I love you so much, and only you, darling. Love, Sharon. Last letter. Darling, I have waited and waited and waited, and you never came. I'm so upset. Please write me or call me or something. I know you're flying out in 2 days, but I have to see you. We have to talk. Where are you? I got a letter saying my benefits are being suspended and you haven't sent any money home in weeks. What am I supposed to do? Please call me or something. Sharon. The end. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.